So, in terms of patterns I've done myself, I've learned to check with a handy sighted person to make sure that the colors are what I think they are. I figured this out the hard way when I thought that a bunch of burgundy was black. And so I had black and burgundy mixed together and I had to frog a whole bunch of burgundy because I thought it was black and it turned out that it wasn't. And so one of my friends pointed this out to me and was like, that's burgundy. Did you want to do that? And I'm like, no, I didn't. So I would like to avoid doing that again in the future because that was a lot of wasted effort because I had to redo it all. So yeah, that's sort of me as a cross stitcher. Next on my list of things to talk about is my current WIP. Because I tend to be someone who sort of I do one thing for a bunch of time and then eventually I sort of get done with it and then do something else maybe, and then eventually I'll come back to the first thing and stuff gets done in sort of like chunks in kind of a rotation, but not formally, if you will. So yeah, so currently, here's what I am doing. I have a sampler. So I have an alphabet, and currently, there's at least one square motif in there, but I think the frame hides it. There's some border, and there's the tail of what will eventually be a kind of dragony thing. This is done on 14 count Ida, and it's in purples. The light purple is DMC 210, I believe, lavender. The dark purple is a JP & Coates 4100 something. I don't exactly remember the... Oh, wait, I can look. I have the label. 4101. There we are, JP & Coates. Because I finished off a purple skein this evening. And haven't gotten rid of the labels yet. So that is, it's a sampler pattern that I designed myself. So that's kind of exciting. I saw there's a bunch of people on Stitch Mania stitching a bunch of different samplers, and I was like, wow, those look like so much fun. I kind of want to do one, but then I was like, you know what these samplers need more dragons. Because everything always needs more dragons. I love dragons. They're like one of my favorite things. I love dragons. So I decided like, oh, I'm going to. Then I fell down the rabbit hole that is the antique pattern library, which is kind of amazing. It's basically, if I can figure out how, I will post a link in my comment thing below so that you can check it out. It's someone or some group of someone has taken a bunch of old, out of copyright pattern books for a bunch of different like crafts and hobbies. Like there's cross stitching ones and like lace making ones and like crochet and knitting and like woodworking, I think, and stuff. And like calligraphy might be there too, of like old sort of like instruction and like pattern books, and scanned them and then made them available. So a couple evenings, I sort of went through and found like, oh, I like that alphabet. Oh, that's a cool border. Oh, I like that motif. And there were some dragons in there too, so I borrowed some dragons. The other things came from stock photos. There's a couple of dragons that I sort of turned into cross stitch from stock photos, and then there's a couple that came from a different website that had like free patterns. The two in the corner. There are two sort of like bigger, sort of like triangle corner dragon motifs that I got from a different website. So yes, maybe I'll post a link to that one too if I can find a way to do it. So there will be links below to patterns that are free. And those are sort of like the elements that I took and I designed them into my own sampler. And then decided to make it purple because purple is awesome. And also I had like 7 skeins of DMC 210 in my stash from someone somewhere at some point was going to do something with a lot of lavender in it, and then didn't, because my mum ended up with a lot of lavender, and then gave it to me. And so I ended up with a lot of lavender. So now I am doing something with all that lovely lavender DMC floss. And that is my current WIP. Not sure how long it's going to take me, because, I mean, the alphabet was like, it's like a third of it, but it's sort of lots of spaces. The other sort of like 2/3, 3/4 of the pattern, whatever I have left, is a lot more sort of like dense in terms of stitching. So that may or may not make it take longer. It is only 2 colors though, so it goes pretty fast that wise. So next, there's the, whoops, sorry, Neko. I startled my cat. There's the pattern. Yay, pattern. It's one of mine, so I can like show it off. That's the dragon that's going to be in the corner. I mean, he'll be upside down, but with like his head and his wings, and that's his tail, which I started. Yeah, this is just a duotang. Actually, I got the idea for putting patterns in like these plastic things from someone on Flosstube, but I have no idea who, because it was like the first time that I checked out Flosstube, and so I just like clicked a random video, and this like lady was talking about how she'd gotten like these folders from Staples. Actually, hers had like plastic in front, and then you could put a picture of the pattern in front. This is just like when my stepdad retired, he had a bunch of like old notes in folders. He shredded the notes and then had all these folders and was like, Kate, would you like some folders? So I was like, yes. Because yeah, this is definitely not about a like February 1998 meeting. This is definitely a cross-stitch pattern. I was in high school in 1998. Definitely not going to meetings. So that's that. Next on my list of things to talk to you about is my happy mail that came today. I have been looking forward to this mail like all week. Actually, more than that, because I think I got the shipping notice last week. And so I've been waiting and waiting and waiting and obsessively checking my mailbox, which does not make the mail come faster, turns out. And so I have this. This is Teresa Wensler's Egyptian Sampler, which I am super excited about because it looks like it is going to be super pretty. I don't know if you can see that because I don't know what you can see on the picture. But yeah, so there's like the some of the Egyptian gods. There's like Horus and Isis and Osiris, and then there's Khepri up here, I think, somewhere with like the rays of the sun, which I think are going to be in. I think those are in Krynic. And then there's like Pharaoh and his queen down here, somewhere here-ish. Like I said, I don't really know what I'm showing you. So yeah, and then there's like hieroglyphs and like some sort of like Egyptian symbology with like lotuses and things and like hawk, bird. No, wait, hawks are here. Those might also be hawks. I'm not sure. And then there's like eyes of Horus somewhere in there. So that's exciting. It's definitely going to be probably the most complex thing I have ever done because like there are so many blended threads. That's some of the floss list. But yeah, all the ones that are like the little like things are like all blended colors, and I've like never done anything with blended threads before. And then there's a whole bunch of fractional stitches, and there's a whole bunch of specialty stitches, like cross stitches, back stitches, like satin stitches, and eyelet stitches, and couching for the back stitches, and goodness me, Montenegrin cross stitch, and large cross stitches with running stitches. Yes, there we are. Eyelet stitches, diamond stitches, back stitches. Oh, back stitches over 2 and back stitches over 1. That's interesting. Yeah. And tons of fractional cross stitches. Like the pattern is full of them, and so I kind of need to do it on some kind of even week. Usually, like, I do most of my things on Ida. Partially because most of the things I've done have been in kits, and partially because Ida is a lot easier to see. because, you know, it's like 14, 16, 18 holes per inch instead of like 32 holes per inch, or like some people are crazy and do like 54 holes per inch, and I don't know how they see anything in that, but apparently they do. I am not doing anything on 54 count fabric, like, ever. But this needs something that I can stitch over to so that I can do all of the like 1,000,001 fractional stitches that need to happen. So I don't have any fabric for it yet, obviously, because all of my fabric is Ida. And I don't have like 40 out of 50 colors, something like that. I need a whole bunch of floss for that. So I'm not going to be starting it for a really long time, because it's going to take me a while to collect the fabric and the floss, just because budget. There's a Michael's in town, so I'm hopefully maybe going to go there some point and see if they have floss or fabric. I don't know if they will. There is no LNS. There's a yarn store. I stopped in on the yarn store the other day and asked if there was a needlework store, and they were like, there's Michael's. You can try going to Michael's. So that's what I'm going to have to try and do. But I've never been to the Michael's before, so I have to figure out where it is. And it just snowed today, so I'm probably not going this weekend because everything is covered in snow. And snow is icky and I don't want to walk in it. So that's that. That's Teresa Wentler. I'm excited. It has like beads and it has Krynic, and I need to try doing it over 2, which is going to be interesting because I don't know how well I'm going to be able to see 28 count fabric. I'm not doing anything smaller than 28 count because I want to be able to see things. So I'm hoping to get something for it. Probably Lugana or Zweitgard. Zweitgard? Is that how you say that? I don't know how you say that. One of those things that I only see people write, so I don't know how to pronounce any of them. And that was my happy mail. I was so happy. It's going to be so pretty when it's finished. Yeah. It's going to be so pretty when it's finished.